Just a smile on your face yesterday when you're walking through the museum, when you're walking through collections. What thoughts came to mind after you were done and you had seen your artifacts and you had seen the plaque gallery?
Well, I've been a fan of Major League Baseball for a long time. I felt like a kid at first, seeing artifacts, seeing history, seeing things when I was growing up that excited me about the game of baseball. And now to think about that, I'm gonna be a part of history. I'm overjoyed. I couldn't ask for anything more, and I'm very proud of this honor because it doesn't happen to everyone. I'm so glad that I dedicated myself to my craft the way I did and ended up in the Hall of Fame.
You've been a part of history for really almost since you stepped on the field at the major level. I want to take you back through some of your career so we can do a little retrospective on you. First of all, let's go back all the way to Auburn. What are your memories of first of all, playing football for the Auburn Tigers? I mean, is that something you cherish to this day that you were on that football field?
Well, I grew up down south, and if you've been down there, football is everything. Baseball is considered secondary, basketball is considered secondary. If you didn't play football, people look at you a little differently. So I played a lot of football as my youth, but also played basketball and baseball. I made sure I continued to play all sports. When I got to Auburn on a full football scholarship, but in the back of my mind, I knew I was going to play baseball. I had asked that a few times before I signed with Auburn, and they gave me the opportunity to play.
Do you still follow the Tigers after they won the national title a couple years ago? Is it still part of your blood?
Oh yeah, I'm an Auburn Tiger for life. You go down there, it's such a family atmosphere, and I was part of a historic rise for the university. So, I'm very proud of Auburn University.
Oh, rise. You rose from the college ranks to the majors about as quickly as possible. You hit 330 in 60 games as a rookie. But was there ever a point where you got to the big leagues and felt, wow, this is a challenge? Because you were successful so fast. It's
always a challenge because when I came up, they said he's a great hitter, but we got to make sure he's a Gold Glove first baseman. And I'm going I know my role in this team, and that's to hit, drive, run, score runs. Let's not worry about the Gold Glove. Let's just make sure I don't make too many errors to hurt the team. And that became my motto. So I became a better first baseman without putting pressure on myself. So in the next couple of years, I became a very, very good first baseman.
So when you first came up, defense was your priority. You knew you'd be able to hit, but you wanted to work on defense?
No doubt. And they spend extra time with me every day, getting better at first base. But I took the pressure off of myself and just said, hey, I know I'm going to hit. I know I'm going to help this team score a lot of runs. Let's not hurt this team with defense.
So really quickly, by '93, you're the unanimous AL MVP. With the Sox, you guys win the West Division title. Can you compare that team to the team you were on in 2005 that won it all? What was so special about the '93 team?
I think the '93 team was better. We had just superstars at every position. We didn't get along as well, and I think that was hurt us in the long run because we were better than Toronto, I thought. But we had a couple things that happened internally that we lost focus with a few teammates. And I think that cost us a win the World Series that year.
Were you able to enjoy it? You had the success so fast. Were you able to really appreciate what it was to be in the playoffs at that point, 3-4 years in your career?
And I was hurt because I really felt we had the best team in baseball that year. Toronto was an excellent team. I mean, they had a 2-year run of back-to-back World Series championships, but we had a special, young, talented team, but we had the older veterans, key veterans, that was capable of winning the whole thing.
Did you think '94 you were going to get back, that team was going to be able to keep going?
'94 was the most disappointing year ever in baseball. We were right there. The strike came. The team was better than the '93 team, but we didn't get to fulfill that season. And for me, it will always be an empty feeling of not being able to finish that '94 season. I was on all cylinders. Offensively, I'd never felt so great, and didn't get to finish the season. It was tough on me.
What was more disappointing for you? Was it more disappointing because of the team not able to finish, or because of you 38 home runs and 101 RBIs and 113 games? You were on a pace for a record-setting season.
I really felt it was going to be a record-setting season, but it was more for the team because, after disappointing in '93, '94 was our year, and everyone was a little intimidated of my team that year, and I really felt we didn't get to fulfill our destiny.
Well, you did one thing that year that fans will never forget. '94 Pittsburgh in the All-Star game, batting practice, you hit a ball that is still the furthest shot in Three Rivers. They put a little star up on the cement facing there in center field. You ever hit a ball better than that?
I've hit a couple like that. That whole year, I had worked on a new thing with Walt Renac of dipping and diving more. Just in batting practice, just to feel good. It was a feel-good swing, more of a softball type of swing. And I had perfected that in BP. So that was just things I did always in batting practice. And I worked the proper way with Walt Renac because he was a strict disciplinarian. He wouldn't let me slide and play around. But he told me I can let you hit balls like this if you hit them the right way, and that was my whole deal.
I want to talk about Walt Renac. He said your combination of power and average was almost impossible to achieve. So he was an amazement you were able to do it. What was it about Walt that helped you cultivate that, to be able to have both the ability to hit for average, the ability to draw walks, and hit for power?
For him, I mean, just been a strict disciplinarian. I don't care if you're doing well, you're struggling. It was the same routine every day. I felt like a robot with him. And he just didn't let you slide. In batting practice, it was the same routine every day. There's no goofing around. There's no home run derby rounds. We're practicing for a goal and a purpose every day, and that's what I really love Walter. And he didn't mess around. If you guys see any Hall of Famer that he's coached, they'll tell you that the strongest disciplinarian ever been around is Walt Renac.
And when you say robot, in a good thing, is that because baseball is such a sport of repetition and being consistent? That's what his strength was as a coach?
That's what baseball is all about, is consistency. And Walter helped you practice every day on consistency, and that's what's going to get positive results in major leagues.
Now, you led the AL in walks 4 times. You finished with more strikeouts than walks. How did you teach yourself plate discipline? Where did that come from? Well,
for me, I wasn't afraid to strike out. I wasn't afraid to hit with 2 strikes. For me, I always felt 2 strikes is just as good as 0-0 count. It was more of a mindset for me. The more pitches I saw from a pitcher, the better I can time him. So for me, I think the ability of not being afraid to strike out really helped my hitting at all times.
And yet, at 6'5", you have a huge strike zone. You had a strike zone where a pitcher could, basically throw it into the ocean, and yet you were able to lay off close pitches. Was it a matter of just seeing the guys repetitiously, or just knowing where your sweet spot was?
I think just knowing what I was comfortable swinging at, but also practicing for perfection every day with Walter.
Did you find that the umpires, after a period of time, gave you more credit because they knew you weren't going to go out of the zone?
I think so. I mean, there was time that umpires, I made their job easy because they didn't worry about me swinging all over the zone. They knew it had to be in a general area around the strike zone if I'm going to swing the bat, and it made their job easier.
So you could be like Fox Tracks. They don't even need to have the computer and the cameras. They just put you out there and say, exactly. Talk about 2005 a little bit with me. You appeared in only 34 games because of injuries that year, and yet you were a big part of that team. And what happened? What's your best memory of 2005?
I came back early that year because I had a special vibe about that team. It reminded me of the '93 team. But this team got along so well. I had never been with a team that was so much harmony in the locker room, and all the guys hung out together, did everything together. There were team meals every city we went to, but it was very talented, and the pitching was very dominant. So I told the doctor and I told the team trainer, I need to get back for this because this is going to be the year. And I said that early in the year. But the doctor said, you're going to risk something there if you come back too soon. There's a chance you can refracture your ankle, and I did, and eventually did that. But I had such an impact over that month, and I knew I couldn't run that well, so my goal was just to drive every ball I could out of the ballpark.
Yeah, 12 home runs in 34 games that year. Was that one of the few times you're swinging for the fences consistently?
It's the first time ever I was swinging for the fences.
Really?
Because my goal always was to get a hit and never worry about home runs. But in that instance, I would just want to put the ball on the tee, and I didn't want to miss. So I had amazing success, and I think my assistant general manager said, man, you should have been swinging like this your whole career. But I said, no, that's not my style. I probably could have hit 50, 60 home runs in a couple of seasons if I had kept that general idea all the time. But it wasn't my style. I always cared about average. I always cared about scoring runs and hitting for power. So I didn't want to limit myself.
You talk about team chemistry. How important is it when you talk about the talent of the team and the other fundamentals, but how important is team chemistry for a winning team?
It depends on the veterans or young kids. I think that the 2005 was a great mix, but it was really young veterans. You're talking guys 26, 27, 28 in that era, instead of having guys 32, 33, 34 dominate your roster. There was a lot of youth and experience in the locker room, but guys stuck together. They enjoyed being in the locker room with each other and playing as a team.
You often said, and you said early in your career, your goal was to make the Hall of Fame. When you got that call, was it everything you thought it was going to be?
You know what? I didn't sleep for 6 months going into this Hall vote. But like I said, I've already set my goals very lofty, but I was always realistic with them. God gave me the ability with great hand-eye coordination and hit a ball like no other at times. And I I always dedicated myself to get the best out of my talent, because coming up, I was never that blue chip guy. I was always a tweener, guy with big, strong power, but they always looked at my swing like it's not the purest, sweetest swing, but I worked on it so hard that it became a sweet, pure swing with my own style. So when I got that call, it was everything, man. You know, it was just, I wish my father was there with me, because he was, you know, my best friend, and he pushed me so much to want to be somebody and to want to be something. And, you know, I know he's here with me now. I feel like we fulfill a dream.
Players often said when you were playing, they would come out of the clubhouse to watch you take BP. What players, though, did you like watching? Who did you like watching?
Oh, there were a lot. I mean, I got to be honest. There were some great hitters in my time. Not saying that, you know, all of them did it properly, but to watch a guy like McGuire take batting practice, that was one I would come out and watch. There was many more. Barry Bonds, I saw him take BP. I liked it a lot. But there was also guys like Paul Molitor I liked to watch take batting practice, because Paul, for me, was like the ultimate hitter. Not much movement. It was amazing how hard he hit the ball without even moving his front side. And it was all hand-eye coordination with him. And he had a great eye, a great work ethic, but he always had a plan. I watched him a lot early in my career with his plan of hitting. He stayed through the middle of the diamond, he centered the diamond, and for him, you know, hitting the ball to right field, pulling the ball, it just became natural. And I kind of, you know, watched him a long time and really worked with that, because I wanted to be like that. You know, to stay, you know, to keep the diamond centered. And it's hard for a big guy to do that, because first thing you do with a guy my size and strength, you look and yank the baseball. But for me, it was never my goal to do that.